Hey, so I'm still here with Yared, and my next question is really about the fact that, as an Orthodox, out and proud Jewish man, why did you decide to stay inside of the religious community? Because, there's so many stigmas and people are so weird, in my opinion. Like, what actually made you stay part of the Jewish community and not, go away and find yourself somewhere else?
So I actually have this really good friend of mine in high school, who's Black Hat, and my senior year, I was telling him next year, I'm going to Israel, I'm away from my parents, I might as well not be religious anymore, I'm gay, I'm out, how many people are really going to be okay with that? I might as well just stop being religious. And he was like, is that what you want? I'm like, no, I love the religious lifestyle. I love being connected to Judaism. And he was like, listen, it's not your choice to be gay. It's just how you were made. He's like, and just because you don't want to keep one mitzvah, or just because you can't keep one mitzvah, doesn't mean you stop keeping all of them. It doesn't mean you stop keeping kosher. He's like, everyone every single day makes different decisions. Do I want to be Shomer Negiah? Do I not want to be Shomer Negiah? Will I keep Shabbat? Will I not keep Shabbat? He's like, just because you can't keep one mitzvah doesn't mean that you stop keeping them all. So that's something that really resonated with me, and I was like, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't stop davening. I shouldn't stop keeping Shabbat. I shouldn't stop keeping kosher just because of the fact that I'm gay.
Do you while now that you're still part of the community, do you feel like there's certain ceremonies or certain cultural norms that you feel uncomfortable with now, as someone who's out, going to shul or certain holidays or certain Torah readings and stuff? Does anything make you uncomfortable to be out as a Jewish guy in a religious setting?
Actually, no. My experience of coming out has been pretty amazing. I really have not run into any homophobia at all. There was only recently, there was one little thing that happened. But for the most part, no. Everyone in the shul is okay with it. Everyone around me is okay with it. And so much so that I don't feel uncomfortable. I don't feel out of place. I feel very welcomed and loved by everyone around me, that I don't feel like there's any part of me that should reject Judaism just because everyone around me has been so welcoming.
Do you feel that there's a real cultural difference in the Jewish communities that you've been in Chutz La'aretz and inside of Israel, when you're being out? Do the different communities react differently or make you feel in different ways?
So that's a really interesting question, because I moved to Pittsburgh 3.5 years before I left. So everyone in Pittsburgh, just about everyone, knows that I'm gay. It's not a secret there. But I also don't exactly live there. And when I was in high school, that was the period when I was coming out. So no one really knew until my senior year. And even then, no one seemed to have a problem with it. And then now, living in Israel, I've moved to Givat Shmuel, and there's a student scene kind of community. So everyone's my age, and everyone around there is okay with it. There was actually just this one incident where I was trying to find an apartment in Givat Shmuel, and there was a group of guys who didn't want me to room with them because they're we're not homophobic, but we just don't feel comfortable with you checking us out in our boxers if we're walking around the house. I was
kind of homophobic.
I was I hate to break it to you, that's homophobic. I totally get where you're coming from. I totally understand that you would feel uncomfortable. But that is homophobia. Just to point that out to you. You can't say you're not homophobic and then
homophobic.
Yeah, it's saying, oh, I'm totally okay with black people, I just won't date a black girl. It's kind of of the same concept.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah, so that was the one and only problem I've ever had. But since everyone in Givat Shmuel is all young and students and of the same generation as me. Yeah. There's very few problems with it. There's very few people against it. And if there are people who are against it, they haven't really voiced it except for the people in that apartment. But like, you know, no one's actually voiced it to me.
As someone who finished the army, who was a Nachal, who kicked butt for this, you know, country, how did it, like, was it weird or different being out in the army?
So being out in the army is, I totally thought I had to be in the closet the entire time. And then it got to a point where I was thinking like, wow, I have not been in the closet since sophomore year of high school. There's no way I can keep this up. Like, I'm not myself. I'm not like who I am. So I had a mifaked who had switched out, and he was like a mifaked somewhere else. And so, but he still kept in touch with all of us. So I randomly texted him. I said, listen, like, I'm gay, and I don't know, should I come out? Should I not come out? And he thought I was joking. He genuinely thought that I was kidding. Way. He called me, and he was like, what prank is this? He was like, who in the Tzivet put you up to this? I was like, no one put me up to it. I'm genuinely asking you, like, you're a very clear, like, you're a very open-minded person. Like, I know this about you. Like, I need help here. I need to know, is it okay? Should I do it? Should I not do it? And he was just shocked. He was like, honestly, I would have never have thought you were gay. Like, I totally, and it's funny to me because until then everyone's like, wow, it's so obvious that you're gay. And then I came out to my mafkats, which is my mifaked tzevet, the officer, and he said, oh, I have a gay friend from the army. I'll put you in touch with him and you can get advice from him. So I did. The guy called me and he was really nice. He gave me a lot of really good advice. But I ended up coming out to my tzevet, and they were all really shocked. There's one guy who was like, I saw it coming, but everybody else was just really surprised. And when I asked a couple of them, like, why are you so surprised? And they're like, because you're so macho. And I was like, what? That's the first time in my life anyone has ever said that I'm macho. Like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, during Masa'ot, you're always the one who's carrying the Pakal Maim or the Pakal Alunka, like, or you're the one who's pushing us to keep going forward, and you're dragging like 3 guys behind you as you're walking in the Masa. Like, you're that guy. So to us, to think that like a gay guy would do that, it's just, it's not what we think. Like, we think like the guys in Tel Aviv who are really feminine and like really in touch with their feminine side and wearing high heels and dresses and like that kind of thing.
Yeah, like in drag.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but like Israeli gay guys, actually, there is like a whole group of them. They have a specific name for them in Hebrew. I forget what it is, but they dress in heels and like they'll wear women's clothing. Huh. Okay, cool. There's a certain word for it. I don't remember what it is exactly, but that's their portrayal of someone who's gay. Right. It's just like someone who's very in touch with their feminine side, and I'm not.
Yeah, you're much like you're breaking like the stereotype for them.
Exactly. So for them, it was a really like huge learning process, and there was one guy who was actually, this is just another small like homophobic thing that happened, but there was like another guy who wasn't in our tzevet, but was in a different tzevet, who didn't feel comfortable with like me being in the showers. There was one time he was in the middle, he had shampoo in his hair, soap on his body, and I walked into the shower and he ran out of the shower. And
if you guys don't know, in the army, men shower together. It's not like Jared walked into the bathroom when someone was showering on purpose. It was just like, that's what guys do in the army. Just like throw it out there.
Yeah. And then he like ran out, and I think actually someone actually yelled after him, "Fuck you." Really? It wasn't me, it was somebody else, but they yelled after him, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And after that, I wasn't comfortable being in the showers. I was like, oh my God, I'm making people feel uncomfortable. In my mind, it went from just this one person to everyone felt this way. So I stopped showering on base unless it was Friday. I would shower before Shabbat. And, you know, when you're in the shetach, like, all week long, you tend to smell.
Yeah.
So it got to this point where the guys in my tzevet, there was just, like, one night where I was in my room. Shatash was almost over. Shatash is, like, this hour that you get to shower, be on your phone, just get ready for bed. But it's, like, an hour of free time. So it was maybe half hour into Shatash. 2 guys in my tzevet came into the to the room I was in, and they're like, "Yalla, Yared, you're gonna come and shower with us." I was like, "Oh, you want me to shower with you?" And they're like, "Not in the way that you want, but yes, we're taking you to the shower. We're like, we've had enough of this. We're like, you're not gonna not shower just because of one guy. Like, fuck him. You come and shower." Right. So after that, like, I was totally fine to go and shower. And there's actually a few times after that, a couple people throughout the pluga came to me and asked me if that one specific guy who ran out, they're like, "Oh, is he gay?" I was like, really funny that you think of that.
Right. So, like, I feel like other than this one guy who is super ridiculous and, like, absolutely homophobic, but, like, other than that, like, you felt good with coming out in the army? Like, the guys there, like, in most part accepted you and, like, it wasn't weird?
Yeah, and I thought everyone in the pluga knew, but it turned out that it didn't. There was one time I was in the middle of a navigation, and I don't suggest this to anyone, but we were in the middle of a navigation in the middle of freaking nowhere up north in Israel, and he asked me if I had a girlfriend, because, like, we had never really talked. We were in 2 different Sfatim, and we'd never talked, so they just randomly partnered us together to do this navigation together. So, you know, like, we're making small talk, and we're, like, trying to figure out, like, who this other person is that's with us. And I ended up saying, "No, but I have a boyfriend." Because my ex, like, at the time I was dating a guy, and he's like, I was like, "Lo, aval yesh li chaver." He's like, "לא, חברה." Like, "לא, חבר." He's like, "לא, זה חברה." He's like thinking that I'm, like, making a mistake. I'm like, "לא, אני homo." He's like, "באמת?" What?
Okay. You guys don't know this, but Yared and I go way, 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 way back, and, like, it's shocking to me that people don't know, like, that, like, somebody could talk to you for more than 5 minutes and not be like, "Oh, got it." Like,
yeah, and this was like, this wasn't exactly after 5 minutes. This was maybe after about, this is midnight, and we started around 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening. So,
wow.
you know, we had spent, like, quite a long time talking, and then it just got to, like, this awkward silence. And, like, whenever it got to our an awkward silence in the conversation, we just would ask, like, a small talk question. So it was really funny. I was like, how do you not know? Like, I thought everyone in the pluga knew. Right. And he's like, I had no idea. And another guy who came in the pluga, actually, like, after he found out, came up to me and he, like, gave me a hug, and he's like, "Dude, I totally accept you. My brother's also gay." And it's like, it's totally cool. He's like, "If you didn't have a boyfriend, I'd set you up with him."
Aww, that's really cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, honestly, like, as an Israeli Jew, like, it makes me feel good that coming out in the army was not as big of a deal as that, like, what my head would have thought it might have been, you know?
I mean, in some places, it's not as great. Like, I have a friend in Golani, and he told me he would never come out in Golani because, like, the guys in his tzevet think that being gay is a sickness. But, you know, in places that I know of, Givati, Tzanchanim, and Nachal, all 3 places where I know gay people who are not only in the Gidudim, but also, like me, who are in the Gadzar, who are in special forces, are openly gay. Like, there's a guy that I met who's in Gadzar Tzanchanim, who's completely out, has a boyfriend, like, his entire tzevet's met his boyfriend, and, like, they're all okay with it.
Right.
You know, like, it also kind of depends on where you are.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.